again, if you made it up until this point, I'm assuming you've already watched part 1 of certain thoughts I have when it comes to the male and female dynamics that we're currently seeing online, at least the rhetoric, and also maybe to a degree, if not quite a bit, in real life. Now, my last point I left off in part 1 is the trade-off, okay? Trade-off. You don't hear too many people talk about this when it comes to making decisions in your life. If you want to be going down the route of a tradcon or a housewife or a stay-at-home mom and all that good shit, but a tradcon is more of a brand. It's more of an influencer selling you a particular lifestyle. You're not going to see me wearing one of those fancy-ass 1950s summer dresses. You're not going to get that out of me. You'll probably see me looking like a casual-looking version of Morticia, if not Elvira. That's just what it is. Yeah, but you're not in your femininity. Go fuck yourself. My femininity is more than just pink and glitz and glamour and the bimbo core type of... No. Well, we don't do that on this channel. We're not doing that. So again, trade-offs versus the one side versus constantly working. That's the thing people don't talk about. That's even the thing that my mom and my dad never talked to me about. They never talk about it, which is kind of a failure on their part as parents, but it's something that I learned over time. Just, making the decision of, wanting to be an autonomous worker, wanting to have freedom, still being on the fence of having kids or not. At the very least, like for me, it's more about going through the process of pregnancy. Guys don't have to do much. It really isn't that much. Yes, women sacrifice more, but I could probably talk about that at another point, but not in this video. Trade-off. Nobody ever talks about fucking trade-offs when you are being a housewife. Okay, here's the thing though. There's nothing wrong with being a housewife. The problem is when you're very much living this bullshit of like this glitz and glamour that people online want to sell you. Like everything is all hunky-dory, right? Everything's great. But the reality is you lose out on time. A woman has to go through the sacrifice of time. And even if she does have a profession or a career, a lot of that is put on pause to help facilitate and the growth of this other human being. But even if you discount not having kids and just being a boss babe, that too has a trade-off. You see, it has to do with the fulfillment of an individual and also the completion, the self-actualization of an adult. What do I mean by that? This idea that a woman's role is just for in the household to be a homemaker, cooking and cleaning, making it a gendered issue is so bizarre to me. It's so bizarre. Guys that are single and not committed to any woman are doing that anyways. So why should that shit only be on the burden for a woman? If that's all you've ever known, well then what's going to happen when the day comes when, let's say, your other half passes away? What are you going to do for money? That's why I've had a lot of my family members tell me, don't depend on a guy for money. Because the reality is you're an able-bodied person, make money. Because money is going to guarantee you, at the very least, some security, peace of mind, and freedom. And it's true. Money is important for me. Financial freedom is important to me. Financial freedom is that gateway to that security. Me getting taxed out of my ass, not so much. Okay? So that's one thing. And when you look at it from looking at the guy, if the guy is only meant to just provide and protect, and he's doing the usual stuff, but does not contribute at least to the domestic labor, well then what's going to happen when your wife dies? Like, what's going to happen with you? You're kind of rendered useless in that way. You're kind of rendered useless. Unless you have the fucking money, you could just hire a maid, rock and roll. But how many people do you know that are living in that wealth gap? I don't know anybody who's in that situation. I really don't. Those people do exist, but I don't know them personally. Now, when it comes to the woman being the boss babe, people are always saying that a woman, you're not passing down your legacy. A legacy is not just simply having sex and your bloodline continues on. It's deep, but it's still just as valid as a woman contributing through her actions, leaving something down. She started something. Even though a lot of some of these fucking tyrants are dead, they still live on through these ideas. Hitler, Stalin, Marx, their ideas still live forth, even though they're no longer here. The same thing with a woman when it comes to the actions that she wants to make forth. Again, making sure that it's a good, positive change in the world. Okay? But we're always downplaying that because we have to uplift the men. Women don't get that sort of attention. So again, what's the trade-off for a woman who is spending a lot of time going away at it at her job? Well, I mean, it's her time. If she chooses to not want to have a kid, well, that's her decision. That's the problem with this conversation. A lot of people don't think of it as a nuance, right? That they're not contemplating the fact that people are going to do what they're going to do and they have their reasons why they do it. But to make it like a gendered issue is so bizarre to me. And that's why I don't necessarily engage with this, because I'm just going to make my point and that's it. Like, there's really nothing for me to argue about. I think it's really weird that even though, let's say, even on the TradCon side, like, I've noticed this with a lot of guys. I don't remember what her name was, but it was that woman that was baking a cake and she uploaded it onto Twitter or somewhere on social media, and everybody was getting all pissy because her top was too revealing, or at the very least, she was covered, but her breasts were too much in the shot. It's like you guys never even... Okay, listen, guys. It's like some of yous have even forgotten the anatomy of a woman. I got big boobs. It's very fucking hard to find something that fits you, at the very least, fucking nicely. I can't move my boobs anywhere. Women with big breasts cannot move them anywhere. And you guys are fucking complaining over this. Like, oh, see, she's a whore. And you guys even lost the definition of what a whore is. Fuck, I was called a whore at the age of 16 because I had a crush on multiple amount of dudes that I was never going to meet. These were guys like Danny Filth, Chris Angel, Hugh Jackman, Johnny Depp. Okay, I'm 16 for fuck's sake. I got called a whore by another dude. But he was taking drugs for his emotions, so it's like, dude, sort yourself out and don't worry about what it is that I'm into. But when young boys, though, have a crush on so many women, some of these women that they're never going to meet, they get praised for it. But when a woman does it, not so much. And it's that sort of hypocrisy that doesn't really help out the situation, which is why a lot of women are saying that they want to be left alone and they don't want to be dealing with certain guys. It's those kinds of guys that they don't want to be around. Do you think every guy is like that? No, it's not. But you're also hearing this from a woman who had an absent father. An absent father in the sense of, yeah, food, clothing, shelter was provided, but in terms of good guidance and protecting, I didn't have that. I had to be the one to fend for myself. And guess what? I got bullied in school by boys and girls. And by the time I came home, this old man would also bully me too. So you can only realize the amount of self-esteem that got depleted over time, or the lack of, really negatively affected me. And that's not a pretty thing, especially when you're in your teens and it's like, oh, am I good enough for a guy? Will I ever get a boyfriend? Because my value and my self-image wasn't there. It wasn't fucking there. So for a long time, I didn't have too many relationships. If not, I don't think I have any relationships in my teen years. Period. That was awkward. So, can only imagine seeing all this bullshit at this point in my life, hearing all this rhetoric. It's like, some of it is so not true. Some of it is like cringe, but just getting down to the rudimentary is it's a little too deductive, and anyways, I just think a lot of the shit is freaking lame. And just to give you guys an idea of where it is that I'm coming from. And guess what? I'm not talking to the old guy, because the old man decided to pick his girlfriend over me when I was of the mindset that I wanted to have a better relationship with the old man. But I guess not. So and by the way, just because you guys have sex, it doesn't mean you're going to be a good parent. It doesn't mean a lot of you should be parents. No, really, a lot of you shouldn't. Well, that's a topic for another time. I'm going to end it here and just say that nobody talks about the nuance, and that is a trade-off. What are you trading in, and what are your reasons for it? I think a lot of this is a psyop, and it's just to get men and women divided and conquered and whatever the fuck. So, that's it. Peace out.